Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, June 24th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Pirate Traders live stream. Okay, so what do we have going on here in the profile? Well, 2 days ago we had a push higher. Actually, we had a couple of days of excess pushing us higher up into this area. Then we spent the overnight, the night before last, balancing slightly higher. And then the whole day yesterday, balancing within that overnight range. We only got one tick below it, creating a poor low yesterday. But I'm not super worried about this poor low because it was created on the reference of the overnight, which is not as important. And it's got this node of volume just beneath it, which was, of course, the node that created the acceptance at this price level. So one should assume if the market came down here to repair this poor low, it would find support in that node. Okay, so I'm just not that worried about it, which is why I'm keeping the color of it gray. Also, just to let everybody know, when we open above yesterday's range, that will go ahead and negate the weak references here and the poor high that we left behind on the 15th. Okay, because the regular trading hours are now above those levels. So as soon as the opening bell rings, I'll delete all that stuff. And then all that will really be left on the profile here is yesterday's high. Okay, so as far as the downside is concerned, I'm looking for support on yesterday's high. It doesn't necessarily have to happen right at the high. It might be closer to like the higher end of value here. But the idea is that if this is now a balancing area, okay, so if we look above it in the overnight and then we pull back down into it during the regular trading hours, it's what we call a look above and fail. Okay, so this is the balancing area here. Okay, so if we look above it and then pull back into the balancing area, if we don't find support very soon and then push back up and out, we are likely to head to the opposite end of balance, which is a poor low. Okay? So if the market pulls back into yesterday's range and it can't get back up and out, it's okay for it to pull in for a little bit and do a little dance down here, make a little love, get down tonight. Ooh, get down tonight. Ooh, okay? If it pushes higher, that's fine. Okay, it's not a failure. But if it pulls down into here and it keeps trying to push back up higher and it can't get up there, then boom, yeah, expect it to fall. Okay. As far as the upside is concerned, obviously it's that all-time high. That's what they're looking at. That's what they're targeting. Oh boy, they might do it right before the market opens. We do have a gap higher, so gap rules are in play. Gap rules basically tell us that if the market starts to sell off back towards filling the gap, but it finds support before it can get down to yesterday's high, okay, then that is bullish and you want to go long with it. If we open with a gap and then the gap just straight up goes, like they don't even try to fill it at all, they just start pushing higher, you go long with that as well, go with the gap. And then the same with the look above and fail. If the gap gets down, fills to yesterday's high, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete all these since we opened above them. Okay, so if we get back down to this level, this 42.46 level, okay, and we find support there, that is a good long trade. But if we don't, that is a short trade. Okay. And to the upside, if we get to the all-time highs up here at 42.5825, we look for continuation higher. So we get up there, we get 2 ticks of excess, which is repairing the fact that it was created in the overnight. And then we see what happens. Do more buyers pile on for a push higher, or does it bring in the sellers? Or not bring in the sellers, fill all the stops of the shorts. You get that little short covering rally, and then you run out of buyers and the market pulls back. Okay? So essentially, first thing to watch is the gap. Does the gap fill? Okay, as to be expected with a gap up, the internals are opening bullish, but we're going to give them some time to settle in. Good morning, Arcaleon. Good morning, Naif. Thank you for the hype. Yes, please smash that like. Stanley is here. Good morning to you. Philip, good morning. Arthur, good to see you. Chris is back with us. Good morning. Ashik is here. You get advice and comedy at the same time. I do my best. Okay, so far, I'm not saying that that's what this is, but so far this looks like a gap and go, right? The market tried to push down and fill the gap. Now it's pushing higher. I'm not necessarily saying go long with it here. I'm just saying this is how you observe it. If it makes another pass at pushing lower, does it find resistance? Or does it find support? I'm sorry. Kim back with us. Good to see you. Welcome. Akbar is here. Am I looking to go long this morning? Well, I'm looking to go whatever direction the market signals me to go. So, like I said, if we get above this overnight high and we bring in more buyers, I'll go long because then it's blue skies and the market can just pump as far as it wants to pump. There's no resistance above. So yeah, I'll go long if we get above this level and then we bring in buyers. The two ways that could happen is we could go above, pull back down, find support, or we could push through and then just rocket ship and it just the volume just pushes and pushes and pushes higher. Either of those scenarios I go long, or if the market sells back down to yesterday's high and then it finds support down here, I also go long. But if it comes back down to yesterday's high and it doesn't find support, it pulls back down into yesterday's range, I go short for the trade to the opposite end of yesterday's range. Okay, so I don't know yet what I'm going to do. I have to wait for the market to tell me. Good morning, Herman. Apico, good to see you guys. Is it Saad? Is that how you say it? Another person from Belgium. Welcome. Jose is here. Good to see you. All right, guys. So, yeah, this still feels like a gap and go, but I don't like the taper at the low. I think we need one more push lower. Get a little more trade down here first. Nick is with us. Good morning to you. No, Nav Trader, I haven't taken any trades yet today. My version of playing the gap is I wait to see how the market reacts to the gap. All right, Marco. Just wanted to hear me say, good morning, traders. Happy to have you, brother. Shuba Hodeep, good morning and welcome. Good morning, News Blip and Nirmal. Mediterra, good to see you. Yeah, Daniel, do I recognize overnight weak areas and poor highs and lows and stuff? I don't recognize any weakness inside the overnight. I just don't pay attention to that. The reason being just the way that the overnight trades. Okay, so it looks like we're going for that all-time high. I still don't like the taper at this low. So that makes me a little bit more weary of the idea that once we get above the overnight high, we might run out of buyers and pull back down here to attempt to fill the gap after we get that repair of the all-time high. But anyway, in the overnight, they like always have weak references. There's literally, I've never seen a single overnight where there's not half a dozen weak references left behind at the end. So I just don't pay attention to them. If they create a poor high or a poor low, I'll make note of it. I'll see it there, but it's nothing that really weighs that strongly on my mind. I even mentioned yesterday's low. This morning I mentioned that this low is poor because it's one tick from yesterday's low. I'm sorry, from the overnight low the night before. But I don't even really care. I'm marking it as poor. I'm aware of it. If we get a look above and fail here, then I'll target it. But I'm just not really that worried. I think we can leave it behind because it was one tick from the overnight. And we have this huge node of volume from regular trading hours just below it. So yeah, I look at the overnight references, but they don't weigh that heavily on my decisions. I'm much more focused on what the regular trading hours does. Okay, internals remain bullish. Gary, NQ just nonstop up, annoying. Let's take a look. It's not annoying if you're long, brother. Yeah, I mean, the trend, folks. Look at how strong this friggin' trend is. That's a very, very strong trend. All right, I would say the gap in the NQ might be a little bit weaker than the gap in the ES just because the overnight left single prints in there. So my thoughts would be that this market might need to, pull back into that gap a bit more than the ES would. But it's also just an indication of the bullishness. They created all these single prints and then they never came back down. 45-degree angle. A 45-degree angle is often great support. It's just a sign that buyers were stepping in at every opportunity, and they will likely do so the next time you come down there. So let's see. Looks bullish. Looks good. Okay, so this is the first sign that we may not be pushing much higher here early in the day because the sellers literally stepped in right at that all-time high. So the idea is now if you push above it, you'll probably squeeze out a few of the shorts, get a little short covering rally, but then if the buyers run out, like they did right here, market pulls right back down to work on this taper on the low. Malcolm, you basically just summed up the book Trading in the Zone in a single paragraph. Well played. Pavel, good to see you. Good morning, my friend. Yeah, so the question is, what's happening here in the market right now? Are we building up steam to break out past this overnight high? But that's not what it feels like to me. It feels like buyers are desperately trying to push higher and they can't get it, which makes me think once they get above there, get a few ticks of excess. Could be 2 ticks, could be all the way up to, say, 42.61, somewhere up in here. They're likely to run out of buyers and pull back down into this area. I just don't like the way all of it's happening in these like exact spots. If you've been watching throughout the day, it's like there seems to be like one level where the market is just fighting. I don't trust that. That's not healthy two-sided trade. Um, Akbar, I'm having trouble understanding your question. So you're saying when you open with a gap higher, you automatically short the gap? Short for the gap fill? Is that what you're saying? unless it got above 45.56.75. And then you go long. Yeah, I don't really understand that logic. The way I treat gaps like this is I don't try to trade the gap itself. So like at market open, I wouldn't try to short for the gap fill. That's a good trade. You can take that trade. It's just not a trade I take personally. I would rather wait for the market to push down here and then see what it does down here. And if it finds support, I make my money on the way back up, right? So by shorting the gap, you're making your money from here to here, right? I'm waiting for the market to do that. And then when it finds support here, I make the money from here to here, right? So it's the same amount of money. I just make it on the way up as opposed to on the way down. And I do it with more certainty, right? Because at the moment the market opens with a gap, you have no idea where it's going. But once it's pulled down to the previous day's high, it's filled that gap. If buyers start stepping in, that's a very high probability trade. So the trade back up is safer than the gap fill. And I like to be conservative. But lots of people trade gaps, and they make lots of money doing it. Yeah, no, I've never heard of that system, Akbar. Skull saying definitely not a trend day. Whilst I kind of agree with you, I don't think the market is ready to push that much higher than we are at the all-time highs here. It's always possible. You have to remain open to it as a possibility because there's a great story behind it happening, right? Market gets new all-time highs, and you get exuberance, right? People get excited, they pile on. Um, you get it in the B period. You start the one-time framing higher, people pile on with that, and suddenly you have a trend. So I certainly wouldn't discount it yet, but it does seem um, like the market more needs to rotate up here at higher prices necessarily than trend. Okay. Ticks starting to trend down, getting below that zero line. It's a sign we're running out of buyers here. Okay, poor high, poor low in this market this morning. The A period high is poor because it's right at the all-time high. The B period low is poor because it's at the A period low. So that's a sign of uncertainty in the market this morning. If the market pushes back down here to repair the poor low first, that would increase the odds in my mind that they want to try to fill the gap. Okay. The ticks are holding up at the zero line, though, so it could go either way. There is still indecision. Probably whichever poor reference is repaired first, that's the direction the market will push next. Okay, well, it is bullish that we just pulled value a little bit higher. Okay, and it looks like the first, oh boy, it looks like the first poor reference that's going to be repaired is the high. I was about to say that, and now we're pulling back down. Chop City. Chop City tonight. Yeah, lots of uncertainty happening in here. Lots of people getting frustrated, getting whipsawed. Um, Nav trader, could it be buyers piling in at 42.57? Yep, could be. But you have to remember there's more sellers than buyers, right? You know that because every time it gets up there and it grinds around, it pushes back down. So there are more people selling at that level than buying. Still could go either way. At this point, we really just have to wait. And I'm actually talking to myself when I say that. I'm sitting here guessing, trying to guess, is it going to break to the poor high or the poor low? Is it going up? Is it going down? I'm like racing back and forth in my mind. Ooh, the internals look like they're trending down, but then they're finding support at the zero line. What is it? Oh no. Now I'm just like, fuck it, Charles, relax. You'll know whichever of those references gets broken first. Sit back and let them fight it out. Who cares? Like I said, whichever of these poor references it breaks, it's likely to push in that direction, as there will have now. This is that spring getting tighter, right? So the people that are going long, if it breaks the poor high and starts pushing higher, they'll get squeezed out. And the people that are going I'm sorry, if the people that were going short, if it goes high, get squeezed out, and vice versa if it goes down. I mean, you know exactly what both traders are looking at. The traders going long are looking at a breakout. The traders going short are looking for a gap fill. So whichever happens first, the other will give up. John, the key is to add more indicators. I'm going to murder your face the next time I see you. Yeah, Arcalion. Yeah, where's that cumulative tick right now? Boy, that's all we need. Just need that cumulative tick. That would give us the answer. Christopher, thank you for the sub, brother. Welcome. It looks like I just missed somebody else too. Null Null. Welcome to you. Oh man, and I missed the Terminator an hour ago? Oh, welcome, Terminator. Pugpack. So Pugpack is asking, was the 1 day of balance that we had yesterday enough? Because there were so many weak references below. And I would say, I mean, short answer, yes. Long answer, I don't really know, right? Like the momentum, you must understand the power of momentum. The momentum is strong in this one. You know what I mean? It doesn't even really even look like a balancing day, right? It almost just looks like it's still continuing the trend, right? Because it was higher than the previous day and higher than the overnight. So this has just still been in an uptrend basically since down here. I mean, if you consider all of these like little pullbacks that felt like they were the end of the world at the time they happened. Oh man, it won't even let me zoom out anymore. But you can just see over a longer term, the whole market is moving up and to the right. There is a giant, powerful trend in this market. But that being said, so yes, that trend alone, that amount of momentum can continue to push it further and further. But then when I see stuff like this, I get worried. Like single prints and a gap at the same level, there's just no support in here. So if whatever causes this trend to end and the market pulls back down to here, there's nothing to hold it up. So just something to be noted. It needs to pull back down into yesterday's sort of value area, or this node just above it. It needs to pull back down into there to find good support. But yeah, those momentum buyers, they can push the market, my man. Revolution. Good morning. Can everything please explode? Can the world just come to an end? I feel you, though. This is very boring. Getting stuck in this tiny little range first thing in the morning. Well, Malcolm, I imagine Pug Pack would pack all the pugs he could pack if Pug Pack could pack pugs. Yeah, Candy Crush would be more exciting than this market. All right, well, there's the breakout to the upside. The market is now one time framing higher. We are at new all-time highs. Does this get the buyers excited? Do they start to pile on? We'll know that from tempo and volume, right? If it starts to just push, 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 that is FOMO buying. They're getting excited. And good day to the mysterious commenter with no name. It's just an image of the ocean. Okay, so now to whoops, microphone wasn't on there. I was just saying that as long as they can hold above this little note of volume we created this morning, I should expect the bulls will maintain control here. So if the market pulls back down, we're looking for support right around this overnight high at 42.55.50. If they can't find that support in this node, they're going for the gap fill. But otherwise, assume the bulls will be in charge here for a little bit. That's what happens when you break on through to the other side. Blue skies, blue skies. Break on through to the blue skies. Arthur's question, how high do we think we go? I'll leave that to the fib practitioners in the chat. Anybody got a fib extension to the upside they want to give us as a target? Oh boy, two people with the same level. 43.65. Well, there you go. Oh no, you're saying 43.65. Shubaho deep. Oh no, that's too far. Too much, too far. But this 65, 42.65, that seems doable. Designed up. So would I. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. As a long-term target, makes sense. All right. Well, it seems like a lot of these targets are pretty high up there. They're all 65 or higher. Market is one time framing higher. Created another little pour high here in the C period. Got the push away. If we immediately repair it, that is bullish. Also, with printing the C period, we pulled the value area higher and the POC higher. Both are slightly bullish. Thank you, Shubaho. Please smash that like if you're excited about these blue skies. If you're feeling pumped on the market, hit the thumbs up. Automatically, your portfolio doubles in size. Just kidding, that's a lie. Dave, how long did it take me to master the market profile? Well, I feel like I'm still working on it. I don't quite feel like I'm a master yet. And I know that might sound strange to you guys because you come here and it sounds like I'm this, crazy smart person who knows all this stuff. But really, I feel like I'm just starting to scratch the surface. Jim Dalton teaches you the basics of the market profile, and then you commit to studying it yourself and analyzing it and understanding it and finding your own nuances. And so I really do genuinely feel like I'm not a master. I have a long way to go. But I would say to wrap my mind fully around it to where I could trade with it, somewhere between like 3 and 6 months. And taking 3 different courses with Jim Dalton as well. Arthur, how much to be in the pirate club? Um, it's $10 a month. Morning, Philip. Good to see you. Oh, good call. I lost track of time. Dun 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 dun. All right, guys. Well, I just want to leave you with some final notes here before we switch over to the private stream for Brigade members only. $10 a month, link in the description. So creating this little poor high here is actually not good in my opinion. And I'll just explain why, because we now have a poor high, the second poor high we've created today, on top of a poor low. So this is a sign that there's indecision here. What I was hoping was that when we got above this A period high, which was the previous all-time high, what is now the POC here, I was hoping that once we got above that level, we'd get some exuberance, you know? We get some FOMO buying, we'd get some excitement, and that would show itself by quick pushes higher on thin volume, and then you'd get a little node of volume that would build up, a little pink node, and then another push higher, and so on and so forth. So the fact that we created this poor high almost instantly, and then are now having so much trouble repairing it, is a sign that there aren't a bunch of buyers ready to jump in here. So once we get this repair, pay close attention, look for support. We're starting to build this node of volume here. But if you don't get it, the market might need to work its way back down to repair this poor low. Okay? With that, I say adieu. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We will see you here tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.